everyone, it's Jan with What You Make It, and I hope you are ready for some inspiration on World Card Making Day. And I have some fun projects to share with you, and I can't think of a better way to start off our World Card Making Day than by sharing a card that a friend of mine sent to me. I love going to my mailbox and getting a card. Usually there is nothing that I really want to see in there. And so when I got this card from my friend Sybil, it meant the world to me. And I'm not going to read her note to you, but I thought it would be great to just, for each of us to remember a card or something that somebody has sent to us through the mail. And maybe that'll provide us with some inspiration as we approach our projects today. Sybil, thank you so much for sending this to me. It is beautiful. She did a wonderful glimmer mist with some distress ink on her stamping, and it's beautiful. I don't know if you can tell from here. If you haven't met Sybil, you need to go check her out on her channel. It's JNSib80, and I know you'll be inspired by the things that she makes. I want to show you my inspiration for my first card. It was these mustaches. I was in Hobby Lobby. They were an impulse buy. I saw them. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I had to have them. They're kind of gem-like. They're dimensional, and I think they're made out of some sort of acrylic or whatever, but they're awesome. And here is our first card. You all know that I love puns, and so here's where I ended up with this. I must ask you a question, but I'm shaving it for later. Okay, probably went a little too far over the top, but some of you that have been watching me for a while know that even a year ago I wouldn't even have considered myself a card maker. So I'm kind of excited that this year I do consider myself a card maker, and I'm going to show you how I created this 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 card. This is a card that you are going to want to do some prep work on if you're going to make it the way that I made this particular one. I used several dies. I used a label die. This is the Tim Holtz tag die, and this is a book plate, and I felt like I needed some dimension and texture on the card, so I cut this book plate out of that in felt. Used that, and then I cut out this paper tray ink tag die, and then these little letters down here are from a Diversions die. They're called A Hint of Lime. It's a font by Diversions, and these letters are about 1/4 of an inch, and they're all uppercase, and I really like it because you get more than one letter when you cut it out. I ran them through my Xyron sticker maker, and one of the techniques that I want you to know, if you use your Xyron sticker maker and you put little bits and pieces down in there, then you want to use a stylus like this and run around all of your edges. That helps you get what I call, keeps you from getting what I call little adhesive boogers. It's not very ladylike to call them that, is that? But just run your stylus around like that. So I've done some prep work on that, and I have gone ahead and I have prepped my stamping, gone ahead and lined them up on here. This is for later, so I've lined those up and already done that, and I've created this as well. Now here's the other thing I want to show you that I did. I'm using paper from the Persnickety tablet by Lily B. Great paper. I love the size of the patterns. It's really good for making cards, and I really do like 6x6 paper pads. And I cut this label out of it, and then I have this background piece that I'm going to do as well. So really my biggest dilemma at this point was to make sure that I had ink that worked with my color palette. And so one of the things that I do, and I don't know if you do this as well, but I take a sample of the paper that I'm going to use, and this is Rustic Cream from Paper Tray Ink. It's a cover weight cover stock. It's really good for stamping, and I like making my card bases out of that thickness. But I take a little scratch piece and I go through and I grab colors, ink pads that I think will be a good match, and I just simply make kind of a swatch for my kind of blues and navies. And I really felt like the Spice Tin by Jenny Bolin. It's a great ink, really love it. And then for the green, I tried Simply Chartreuse by Paper Tray Ink, New Leaf, and Distress Mowed Lawn. So I make those, and then I keep them by my ink so that I can see what they look like. I had some light blue brads, but I didn't really have any that were the right color. So I took a Copic marker, B99, and I held it with my tweezers and just have gone around and colored those brads and then just set them aside to dry. My card base was 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and I scored it in the middle. And I'm going to use my We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper, and I'm going to use the 1/4 inch to go all the way around. This is going to be a 4-inch square so that it's just a little bit in from in size. You can see a little bit of that edge. And I'm going to use my corner chomper on each of those. I'm going to go ahead and put that down. I am looking forward to our day of card making, and I tell you what, if you post a response or link me to a card that you have made that was inspired by one of the cards that I share with you today, your name will go in a drawing that I'm going to do for a little rack. I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's going to be fun. You can link either over on my blog, or you can link to any of the videos that I do today. Just show me your take on the techniques. You don't have to make the same card that I do, because clearly probably very few of you are going to want to do the mustache you a question. But if you do something that was inspired by this, I'd love to see what you do. So send me a link, and I will leave the link, the drawing open until, let's say, today is the 6th. So I will leave it open until the 10th. I will do a drawing of everybody that has linked me to one of their projects that they have done, either on my blog or here. Now I'm taking Simply Chartreuse ink and just hitting the edges here. I felt like it needed a little bit of definition to pop off of this card. Now I'm going to use a few dimensionals. Let's get this popped up here. And I know I am a person who uses lots of dimensionals. I do not want it to sag down in the middle. So I don't know if you know this trick, but to make it a little easier to get them off, if you'll just take your fingernail, press down in the center, makes them really easy to pull off. Before I put that on there, I want to do my stamping. So I'm going to do this. And on the inside, I felt like it needed to be a little messy. So I'm using some Mr. Huey's leaf green, just to splatter a little bit. And if you don't have something like a, you know, one of these little mist, if you don't have Mr. Huey's or Flat Fabios by Lindy Stamp Gang, you know what, you can water down a little bit of acrylic paint, use a paintbrush, you can get the same effect. Okay, so let's do, I did my shaving stamping first, and I find that it's easier if you have kind of a focal image. It's easier to do that stamping and then place your other words around it. So let's get my, this is Simply Chartreuse by Paper Tray Ink. I like their ink. It's very, you get good coverage. This is kind of an older alphabet stamp, so I'm wanting to make sure I get good coverage on it. And I'm going to place it a little bit off center and press, make sure I get a good stamping. Now I'm going to take my other two groupings of letters, and again, if you, this, you would not have to do this particular step. You could do something on your computer, pre-print it. I have a very talented crafter, scrapbooker, card maker friend, Tracy Claiborne, and I will give you a link to her blog down here. She does an incredible job of doing her inside sentiments, and she's really inspired me to do that more. And she creates them and prints them on her card before she even starts, and I think that's a great idea, and I will give you a link to her because I think you will find a lot of inspiration there. So I have the But I'm going to stamp this. This is just perfect to send a little note of encouragement to one of those guys in your life. And I'm just covering up that center, and I actually wish that I had put that one a little higher, so I'm going to move this a little further up, but it will cover up that hole. And I'm also going to take that same Copic marker, and I want to be very gentle, but I do want to outline it because it could get a little lost in here. And if I'm just gentle, I'm just dabbing it, I'm not going to ruin my Copic marker. So now we're going to put our little book plate on, have my brads to go in here, and just want to kind of work to make them hidden. And because this is felt, I'm going to use some Fabri-Tac to put it on. I just want to make sure that it stays in place. I'm going to put our book plate down, center it, little press. Let's take our mustache. Oh, just drop it in there. Anywhere's fine. Oh, I have fumble fingers sometimes. Just going to kind of center that. And now I'm going to use my little letters, and I want to show you a trick, particularly because I have this little center point here. I realized that I could use that to help me line up my letters. And so I wrote out you a question. Get this up here. There you go. And I realized there were 4 letters, Q-U-E-S-T, and then T-I-O-N. So that means that my center point is the S and the T. And so I'm going to start in the middle and work my way out. Right here. And obviously using tweezers is going to help with that placement. I'm going to do my... Aren't these just like the perfect size for this? And a question on the UA, 1, 2, I always count letters and spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means that the U is actually the center of that particular phrase. So I'm going to take the U and I'm going to actually put it directly in the middle. Count spaces like they were a letter, and that'll help you do that. We have our first card of the day done. I hope that, I'm going to go ahead and open it up here so you can see the inside. I hope that you are getting to have some fun, creative time today. I'll be back with another video, and be sure and take some time for creative play. See you soon.